Welcome. I am Advocate Bhagyashree Bhosle. In today's lecture, we shall discuss about the provision regarding the international law, its meaning, definition, and sources of international law. International law is a system of a treaties and agreement between the nations that govern how the nation interact with each others, citizen of other nation, and businesses of other nation. International law typically falls into the two different categories. Private international law deals with the controversies between the private entities such as a people or a corporation which have a significant relationship to more than one nation. For example, the lawsuit arising from a toxic gas leak in Bhopal, India from the industrial plant owned by the Union Carbide at a United States corporation would be considered as a matter of a private international law. According to Bentham's classical definition, international law is a collection of rules governing the relation between the state. It is a mark of how far the international law has evolved that this original definition omits the individual and international organization, two of the most dynamic and vital element of the modern international law. Furthermore, it is no longer accurate to view the international law as simply a collection of rules. Rather, it is rapidly developing the complex of the rules and influential thought, not directly binding the principles, practice, and assertion, coupled with the increasingly sophisticated structure and the process. In this broadest sense, international law provides the normative guidelines as well as the methods, mechanism, and a common guideline and common conceptual language to international actors, that is primarily the sovereign state, but also increasingly international organization and more individual. The range of a subject and actors directly concerned with the international law has widened considerably, moving beyond the classical question of war, peace, diplomacy to include the human rights, economic and trade issues, space law, and international organization. Although international law is a legal order and not an ethical one, it has been influenced significantly by the ethical principles and concerns, particularly in the sphere of human rights. Public international law concerns the relation between the nations. Since most international law is governed by the treaties, it's usually up to the individual nations to enforce the law. However, there are a few international organizations that enforce the certain treaties. The most notable example is the United Nations, which has 192 members. Then we shall see the subjects of the international law. It is referred to as the entities who have a legal personality with certain rights and duties under the international legal system. The state is considered to be the primary and original subject of the international law. However, it also regulates the action of other entities. Individuals are also the subject of international law. Common people of any state are also believed to be the subject of the international law, as well as the international organization. It is an association of a state established by the treaty between two or more states. International organizations too have a legal personality and are considered the subject matter of the international law. For example, the United Nations, etc. Then the multinational companies are also the subject matter of international law. They own and operate their corporate entities in the list of other country aside from the place where it was incorporated. Therefore, it is established in more than one nation. All are considered to be the subject of international law. The public international law control the relation between two different states as well as the relation of one state, one nation along with the all other member states. There are important sources of international law. International law is a comprehensive in nature, and due to that it is an amalgamation of various sources. There exists no single system of law which can interpret and extend the law, but international law still exists and is ascertainable. There are sources available from which the rules of international law may be extracted and analyzed. According to Lawrence, if we take the source of a law which has all the authority required to give it a binding force, then in respect of international law, there is a one source of a law and there is a consent of a one source of a important source of a law, and that is the consent of a nation. The consent may be either custom means tax or express means treaties. Major source which from the conventional source of international law include the international convention and treaties. Source of international law can be bifurcated into the primary and secondary source, which are explained as above. The primary source of international law are considered formal in nature. They come from the official bodies which include the treaties, customs, principles of a law. Article 31 1 AC of the International Court of Justice statute is widely recognized as the backbone of the formal source of international law. It is generally regarded as the authoritative statement of a source of international law. Article 38 of the Statute of International Court of Justice is the Hague has been treated as a convention catalog of an international legal source. Article 38 of the International Court of Justice was adopted by the same provision of the Statute of the Permanent Court of International Justice, which operated under the auspicious support of a legal of a nation in 1920. The article referred to the primary source of international law, which are enumerated below. Custom as a source of international law. The original and oldest source of a law, international law as well as the local law is a custom. The rule of a customary international law involved a long historical process which gained the recognition by the entire community. The presence of a customary rules can be deducted from the state practice and behavior because it is not a written source of a law. A rule of a customary law is said to have two elements. First, it must be widespread and consistent state practice. Secondly, there has to be opinio juris, a Latin term which means a legal obligation to believe in the existence of such a law. Then we shall see the features of a customary law. Uniform and general. State practice to give rise to the binding rules of a customary international law. That practice must be uniform, consistent and general, and must be coupled with the belief that the practice is obligatory rather than the habitual. In the asylum case, the court declared that the customary rule must be used constantly and uniformly throughout the history, which can be traced through the state practice. Then we shall see the second feature of a customary law is the duration. Continuous and regular use of a particular conduct is considered as a rule of a customary law. In the North Sea Continental Shelf case, the International Court of Justice stated that there is no precise length of a time during which the practice must exist. It is simply that it must be followed long enough to show that our requirement of a custom are satisfactory. To assume the status of a customary international law, the rule in a question must be regarded by the state as a binding in a law. That is, state must regard themselves as a being under a legal obligation to follow the practice. In the Lotus case, opinio juris was seen as an essential element of the customary international law, and this was affirmed in a North Sea Continental Shelf case as well. Convention as a source of international law. Treaties and convention are one of the most important source of international law. These conventions can be multilateral or bilateral. Multilateral convention relate to the treaties which formulate the universal or a general application of the law. On the other hand, the bilateral convention are those which are formed exclusively by two states to deal with the particular matter concerning the state. Vienna Convention on the Law of a Treaty 1969, the codified law for contracting the treaties, gives the definition. A treaty is an agreement whereby two or more states establish or seek to establish a relationship between the governed between them governed by the international law. Treaties act as a direct source of a right and obligation for a state. They codify the existing customary law. They are voluntary and cannot bind non-signatory to it. However, there are a certain exception to it, that if any rule forms a part of a just cognized norms as they apart from the accepted principle of the international law, every state has a duty of not breaching them due to their erga obligation. Means old to whole world. Whole world is under a duty to follow that particular treaties or obligation. Then we shall see the secondary source of a international law. As per Article 38(1)(d) form of an International Court of Justice form the part of a material source of an international law, also known as the secondary source. It states that the judicial decision and teaching of the most highly qualified publicists of the various nations also help in guiding the formation of an international law. However, there are binding, but merely. However, there are not binding. They are not binding, but they are advisory in a nature. Juristic writing and teaching are also the important source of a international law. Other major part of this source also include the teaching of the highly qualified writers such as the Gentili, Grotius and Vettal, who were considered as the supreme authorities of the international law in the 16th to 18th century. Textbooks are also as a method of discovering what the law is on any particular point rather than as the source of an actual rule, and the writing of even the most respected international lawyer cannot create a law. These are considered as an evidentiary source of a law as they provide an explanation and understanding of the international law. In this way, the international law is important and become very much famous in today's world, and in today's lecture we saw the various sources of international law.